Mary, your time is now. It gives me great privilege to pass the gavel to our incoming president, my friend, Mary Broderick. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your incoming president will provide you with an overview of her priorities for the coming year. 2 steps to the rear, and I'm out of here.
Thank you, Earl. Last fall, as I was about to head out the door to the NSBA board meeting in Detroit, I received a call that a family member was in the middle of a health crisis. Instead of going to the Providence airport, I headed to the hospital in Boston. My flight was on Southwest, so I called them to consider my options. The woman I reached advised me to wait before canceling my flight. When I arrived in Boston, the health crisis had passed. Though I had missed my flight, I headed to Providence. Those of you who fly a lot will understand that I anticipated a bureaucratic nightmare. I approached the Southwest ticket counter and told the woman what had happened. She expressed compassion and immediately booked me on the next flight without charging any additional fees. Now, I know Southwest has had some issues in the last couple of weeks, and I hope that they didn't inconvenience any of your travels. But part of Southwest's vision statement is to have the most productive workforce to guarantee the best possible flight for each and every passenger. My story shows that Southwest had figured out a way to minimize bureaucracy. The woman behind the counter was empowered to help me. She was enabling me to fly because she was respected to use good judgment. She herself had been given liberty to fly. Incidentally, when I wrote a letter of praise about her to the CEO, he responded with a personal letter to me. That agent loved that her actions made my day, and she seemed to love her job. What if we were able to ensure that all teachers loved their jobs and conveyed that love to their students? What if they were able to fly? Is there any doubt that our schools would excel? So what can we do to ensure that our teachers love their jobs so that students learn to soar? How do we challenge and inspire our staffs and students with high expectations and launch their potential? As we move decision-making farther from teachers and children, what are we jeopardizing? Our competitive edge and key to our national success have always been our ingenuity, our openness to innovation, our creativity. These are fostered through curiosity, inquiry, and self-directed learning. The top-down command and control model of education, where Washington and state departments call all the shots, is overtaking our ability to encourage empowered and innovative students and staff. An excessive focus on testing challenges our competitive edge as a nation. So can we, as board members, empower staff and prepare students who are self-reliant, self-confident, and resourceful? We have an important role to play. We can lead publication toward new heights by following 5 steps. First, know our environments. Second, develop a shared vision of excellence. Third, cultivate the team. Fourth, encourage innovation. And fifth, but probably most important, care about people. Care about the personal and professional growth of all who work and learn within our districts. These are all interrelated, but let me talk about each one. The first step toward excellent schools is knowing our environment. We know the importance of understanding trends and best practices and other environmental dynamics. We're here, right? What models of excellence do we draw from? How do we know that something is in fact a best practice? Does it work in our classrooms? Does it work for our children? Does our environment respond to it? How well do we understand the competing values within our communities? Public education and school board leadership are fighting for survival. We are all faced with partisanship, loss of local control, and increasing competition for scarce resources. We contend with these tensions as we position our districts for a future that is in perpetual motion. We keep hearing about preparing students for their future, cultivating innovative, creative, collaborative, critical thinking, and self-directed learners. Yet the demands of No Child Left Behind, Race to the Top, and many reform models lead us toward far more drill and practice and test prep that allow few children to fly. It breaks my heart to know that the children in our poorest communities, and we just heard an example of this, have lost the most in the way of rich learning experiences. Gone are art, music, and even recess. Chinese educators fear that their own test-based system has led to a loss of innovative thinkers. They come to our shores to visit our schools to learn how to cultivate a more creative workforce. And we are abandoning the very thing they seek, crossing paths with them, looking for greater uniformity. We as a nation are robbing our children in making this shift. So what role do we as board members playing in sparking conversations in our communities about the trade-off between testing and standards versus addressing the individual needs and interests of each student and encouraging creativity and self-directed learning? In my day job, I get to help communities in Connecticut, my home state, discuss educational issues. Diverse participants consider together what they value, where they hold common ground, and where differences lie. At a recent conversation in New Haven, a 16-year-old boy told the mainly adult participants, "Until I started doing well on tests, no one noticed me." The wisdom in our communities is amazing. Let's tap it. One way to engage our communities, one purpose of these conversations, is to develop a shared vision of excellence, which brings me to step 2. There is tremendous power in determining together the human beings and citizens we want to nurture through our schools. We generate energy when we ask critical questions, drawing out the collective wisdom and values of our stakeholders, our administrators, our teachers, our students, our custodians, our parents, our faith community, our police, our business leaders, our senior citizens, to develop a district vision. Our vision should be long-term and broad and focused on teaching and learning. I've seen too many that are focused on tests, and we absolutely need testing as one barometer of learning. But if we focus on short-term performance on tests as our vision, we actually limit our ability to generate a nation of creative problem solvers. So what is the role of school boards in building commitment toward a district vision of excellence? How do we ensure a process that stirs people's hearts, compels them internally to work toward the vision? A shared vision and collective purpose can launch us toward our ideal. Our third step is to cultivate a team. We've heard a lot from Earl Rickman this past year about teamwork. When we are working in formation toward our collective vision and having fun in the process, others are going to want to join. Everyone on the team needs to believe in the direction and trust others to carry their own weight. This doesn't mean everyone agrees all the time. We are far stronger if we allow and respect differences. but recognize that we are united by our drive toward a common purpose. One of the most important elements of a high-performing team may be defining the roles of team members. Don't we all work better with our superintendents if we each understand our respective roles and avoid stepping on one another's toes? And if we support one another in the process? I worry a lot about the current rhetoric that tries to divide teachers and their communities. We are far more likely to soar if we are joined in common purpose. Our fourth step is to encourage innovation. Fortunately, conditions of uncertainty offer prime soil for creativity. The problems we face today defy conventional solutions. Do we share what works, constantly looking for better ways to do things? Do we encourage a spirit of openness and curiosity? Are we comfortable with risks? I know a very effective superintendent whose district is alive with innovation. His strategy? He tells new hires, if you don't make 3 mistakes in your first month, you aren't doing your job. We had a superintendent in my own district who avidly encouraged all who were a part of our schools and our community to imagine the ideal and then work together to move toward that ideal. Our collective efforts resulted in a dynamic, cutting-edge, inspirational learning environment. How do we govern to value creativity, dreaming, proposing, and risk-taking, not only to survive, but to flourish? As board members, we can encourage innovation by nurturing curiosity in all. Our schools are full of experts with wisdom to share. When we involve them in decision-making and tap their considerable competence, our staffs know their experience, their knowledge, and their views are valued. This area is closely linked to the next and final step toward excellence, making our primary concern the growth of all who work and learn within our districts. Southwest Airlines trusted that woman at the ticket counter to make decisions that would move the airline toward its vision. As a result, she felt competent. She felt autonomous, trusted to make the right decision. And we enjoyed a delightful, if brief, relationship. She modeled what motivation experts tell us are the 3 intrinsic needs for learning. We need to feel competent, we need to feel a sense of belonging, and we need to feel autonomous or in control of our own destinies. When we figure out how to meet all these needs, our staff and our students will soar. When staff members believe that they have something meaningful to contribute and their contributions are valued, the organization will move toward new heights. When we ask our teachers to work together to create a classroom climate to support each child's spirit of discovery, our kids will fly. If we ensure teachers have their intrinsic needs met, they will love to learn, and they will model that love of learning for their students. If children feel competent, comfortable in relations with others, and autonomous, they will thrive. And we will have ignited the potential of all in our districts, and they, in turn, will ignite it in others. NSBA reflects the extraordinary diversity and cultural complexity of our great nation. That makes us phenomenally strong and well-suited to meet our challenges. I intend to work diligently as your president to redirect national education efforts away from a focus on failure and toward a focus on excellence. Will you join me in rallying for the conditions we need to transform our schools so that each of our children soars? As school board members, we are the only elected officials whose primary role and mission is to advocate for our children. Are we going to be compliant, or are we going to be visionary? Are we going to expect only those at the top to have good ideas and solutions, or are we going to invite everyone to contribute to solutions? If we lead with questions, if we understand our environments, if we work collaboratively on a shared vision of excellence, if we foster a team, if we encourage innovation, and if we care about the people in our systems, if we care for the growth of our staff, our children will lead us into the future with confidence. And together, we will ensure that public education remains the cornerstone of our vibrant democracy. Thank you.
Give her a step.